Good Sunday. It is November 17th, 2019. Thought I'd do a quick outlook here on Mid-Atlantic weather. It's been a long time, and just thought I'd give everybody a quick look at what's going on. So this is a weather map that is posted for today. It is showing this strong area of low pressure off of the southeast United States. This low pressure, it's actually a double low. You're not seeing the other piece of it, but there's another part of the low down here. This thing is extremely powerful. It's got a strong onshore flow. It's causing beach erosion, flooding, moderate to even major flooding in some of these sounds. It's been just pounding and eroding a lot of the beach out here along the East Coast. What it's also doing is throwing just enough moisture that the mountains are starting to squeeze some of that moisture out. You don't see it here on the weather map, but there are reports of some light snow up into parts of Pennsylvania into northwestern Virginia, as well as some freezing drizzle causing some accidents out here along the mountains here. So please be careful today. This low is going to continue to kind of track up the East Coast and then swing back towards the west. You can see that some of the moisture is going into some colder air, causing some mix and some other snow up in northeastern part of Pennsylvania up in the northeast. As we head into Monday, just showing that there's a piece of a low here and another one out here, so there's a chance of some rain. Eventually it's going to populate here into parts of Virginia as these things kind of all the pieces of energy kind of work together. More snow is possible into the mountain regions and more into the northeast. And then as we head into Tuesday, this thing's really having a hard time advancing here on the weather. What you're seeing on Tuesday is that this front has now, and all the moisture and everything else has come through. It's not going to really be warm east of the mountains, but you get some upslope snow showers and some snow in this region. Maybe some mixed rain and snow. I'm not so sure. This map seems a little bit off, but we'll see how things pan out. There are some changes this week that are going to happen. First of all, the predominantly cold weather that's been in the east is going to break down some and allow more seasonable or slightly below normal temperatures to take shape. That has to do with this high slipping east. No reinforcing cold. You do see the cold getting reinforced up here in the upper parts of the plains, but not a lot of that cold is moving to the east. Here comes a front, but we're on the southerly side here, so we should see a little bit warmer temperatures, and then a front does come through towards the end of the week into Saturday. But again, this wasn't a true Arctic origin high pressure system. So what we call cross-polar flow, or the flow of cold air that was coming now all the way from Siberia into the U.S. and part of the polar vortex lobing, or what are you going to call it, kind of sagging into the United States, really does break down this week. So we'll have to see if that gets reestablished in later periods. And then by the end of the week and into the next weekend, we have this low here that is going to cause some rain for a lot of the area. We do need some rain. We've been dry yet again. There is some cold weather here. We'll have to see how things pan out, because it is just cold enough to give me a little bit of interest in seeing if whether some cold air damming sets up and whether or not some mixes happen, especially in the northern part of the Mid-Atlantic. We'll see if whether or not that can edge its way further down. Eventually it just turns over to rain and we'll move out. But this is a whole week away, so there's a lot of questions about how all this comes together for next weekend. What I'll tell you is then in the following week, it does still remain a little bit below normal, at least from the way it looks like in the long-range forecasting. Of course, subject to change, long-range forecasting, even out 3 to 7 days, becomes a little more touchy, especially in transition times, which we are kind of in. And we'll have to see how things pan out. And again, just to show you kind of what's going to happen temperature-wise, I'm going to quickly step through that. So this is a day, we do still have some cold air damming. That's why I said some of the areas out here in the valleys and out to the west are seeing a little bit of snow and some freezing drizzle this morning. Temperatures are really chilly in the 40s. While still below normal, we do see a little bit of warming. That cold air damming signal is retreating some, so not as cold. We go into Tuesday, we're getting a little warmer east of the mountains, especially. Up against the mountains, it's still cold. I mean, they're blowing snow out in the different ski areas, and I think that's good for an early ski season. This actually be pretty decent for anyone who got skiing out in the Seven Springs, snowshoe, and things like that. Wednesday, Yeah, a little bit warmer. Some of the warmest temperatures we've seen in a while in the mid and upper 50s. And then Thursday, maybe even a little bit warmer. We see 60s starting to make a return coming into parts of Virginia. Still in the 50s in the upper part. This is very close to normal, but still a few degrees below normal up here north and everywhere, actually. Just a few degrees, though. And then Friday is a pretty good surge of warmth east of the mountains. But you do see some things hinting here at staying colder or potentially cooler temperatures coming in. And next Saturday, a front has come through. It knocks temperatures down a little bit to, again, a little bit below normal, but nothing too dramatic or drastic like we saw this last week. So much more bearable, but below normal. About 5-6 degrees below normal at times, maybe 4 to 8 degrees below normal in areas. So we stay below normal, but not ridiculously cold like we were before. And the last thing I wanted to show, actually there'll be two more things I want to show, is one is a precipitation outlook. You can see that here in the areas around the mountains and just east of the mountains, it's staying really dry. And honestly, it has been dry. So interesting setup here. This coastal areas are being impacted by this nor'easter that goes up to the north, and this is the influx of that potential low for maybe some precipitation next weekend. We can hope upslope. Mountain-wise, you get some rain squeezed out of here, and then we just got to see how things pan out. But kind of dry here in the upper mid-Atlantic and in Pennsylvania, Northwest Virginia, to see if that continues as a trend. It kind of has been, by the way. Now, this was issued yesterday, but this was the long-range outlook. This is the 6 to 10-day period. As I mentioned, still staying below normal. And precipitation-wise, we also stay below normal during this time period. Slightly above normal. I found that interesting because of the forecast, but there is that low pressure that's going to come through, so there's a chance or tendency maybe for some above normal precipitation. This is in the 6 to 10-day forecast. In the 8 to 14-day period, again, a pretty good chance that we're going to stay below normal. This has to do a lot with the upper level structure. I find this very interesting, by the way. We're going to have to see how this pans out, because even though I believe we get to a point where below normal precipitation is predicted in the 8 to 14-day period, right at the end of this period, there is something that's going to happen, maybe around Thanksgiving time, for maybe a strong coastal low. We'll have to see. I mean, it's all way speculation, way far out in advance. But in general, you see that there's a tendency for below normal temperatures here in the east. And that was my long-winded Mid-Atlantic weather outlook. Again, around 7 minutes seems to be my common time frame. Almost 8 in this case. But basically, a tending towards milder, but still staying below normal. Maybe some showers, some snow showers even, and some freezing drizzle and things like that today. Coastal areas obviously are getting impacted by high winds, which I didn't even go into. Erosion and things of that nature. Please stay tuned to your local weather and stay out of the ocean. I don't know if you'd be in it anyway, but there's a lot of places closed down due to overwash and other things along the coast. That's a pretty serious condition, and I'm sorry I'm not highlighting it so much, but you kind of get the point. If you're along the coast, you're getting pretty highly impacted from severe storms of wind and rain and a strong nor'easter. Otherwise, we kind of warm up this week. Still staying about 5, like I said, 4 to 8 degrees below normal for most days. So maybe Friday, and then we cool back down again below normal with highs only in the low 50s to maybe low 60s depending on where you are. That's still below normal depending on where you are in the region. Stay tuned. Thanksgiving week I think could be interesting weather-wise. We'll have to see. Otherwise, long-winded Mid-Atlantic weather outlook.